Greetings, my champions, and welcome to Live with Chatufa. We continue to give you updates of what is happening in the nation, around our neighboring countries, as well as all over the world. The situation of Mozambique remains an issue of interest as we continue to see the running battles are going on, and it seems like it's not yet over until it is over. The citizens of Mozambique have made it a point that this time around they are standing their ground until they discover their victory. And indeed, we are believing that they are coming out victorious this time, especially against these liberation parties, the likes of Renamo, that have been rigging elections from time immemorial. And they've continued to oppress and abuse the citizens and think that they've a mandate, or they do have an entitlement to run these countries. So we have seen the opposition organizing itself and organizing its supporters, and quite an overwhelming response from the supporters of the opposition, who have filled up the streets and have continued to stage a war against this illegal regime of Frelimo. And right now, Renamo, as one of the opposition parties in Mozambique, calls for a caretaker government, the disbanding of the Electoral Commission, and a fresh election. And I think this is the first time that we are now hearing one of the political parties really coming out to give a solution to the way forward. The rest looked like they were still arguing over the issue of the election and the results, and coming out to call for more and more demonstration. But Renamo is coming up with a different call for a caretaker government. And of course, their own ZEC must be disbanded, and then a fresh election is held. We don't know how much attention this is going to be given, considering the arrogance, of course, that we know with these liberation parties. But the running battles are on, and the Mozambican people are determined to fight until victory is certain. And the call by Renamo really is something that they really need to consider. The illegal government must consider this as one of the solutions that could bring peace to the area, to Mozambique, and of course, for them to be able to see eye to eye and find solutions that can be everlasting to their country. Because as long as Frelimo continues to listen to ZANU-PF and all these other bogus parties that are in the SADC region, especially the liberation parties, they are going to continue to see the situation escalating, the economy deteriorating, and life will become even more difficult for them in Mozambique. They would rather come to the negotiating table and find a way. Maybe they could save a little bit of themselves. If a fresh election is probably held, they could win a few seats and still remain a bit relevant. But the fact that their advisors are people like Mnangagwa, it is really going to be very, very difficult for them to really accept the situation on the ground and to work together with the rest of the other citizens of Mozambique, as well as opposition parties, to come up with an everlasting solution to the problem that is bedeviling the country, right? So here, Wilka Dias from Mozambique reports that the leader of Renamo, Osufa Momade, today proposed the cancellation of the elections, the creation of a caretaker government, and the dissolution of the current model of the National Electoral Commission until the country is able to carry out a transparent process. And I think this really is a call that is very, very important as a consideration by the Mozambican people and even Frelimo government themselves. This could be their way out if they would want to allow a reason to kick in. Unfortunately, we know these liberation parties and how they've always been so arrogant, and they think that they are invincible, they are untouchable, and they can, walk on top of the water. But this time around, things are different, because the pressure on liberation parties right in the Southern African region is definitely not giving them any breathing space. And they should be considering other ways, other means, other than being overthrown by the masses, by force, because that is not going to be working out for good for them. They would rather choose a way that would also leave them some breathing space. So Mozambicans really are not giving up because we have seen quite a lot of videos and a lot of disturbing stuff that really is coming out of Mozambique, which is something that should not be encouraged, as lives are lost almost on every 10. More and more lives are being lost, and it should take people that have care to realize how much lives are being lost and try and save the situation. What really we are seeing happening there is something that only politicians who mean serious business would really take seriously, especially the call that we are hearing coming from the Renamo party. So this remains an issue really that is thorny right in Africa, as we are seeing quite a lot of talk is coming up, a lot of discussions are being made over Mozambique, a lot of calls are being made over this very scenario, which has just gone totally out of hand. But the truth is that liberation parties must stop and desist from this idea of thinking that they can use the old-fashioned ways of stealing the elections through rigging machinery and chicanery. I don't think this is going to be working anymore, especially in the times that we are in now. We are in different times, and these are not times that anybody can be playing some shenanigans over elections and think that they will get away with it. You can't get away with it, because we are in a digital world. We are in a time of social media and internet, and any kind of activities that are rogue that you might want to do, they will be caught on camera and they'll be reported. So it is not going to be easy to rig elections anymore with the technology that is around us now. And that is what is making life very difficult, especially for these liberation parties like ZANU-PF, the Frelimos, and of course, we are waiting to see what happens in Namibia on the 27th of November. And it's going to be very interesting. A few days just to go to see if SWAPO is also going to remain above the water, as also indicators are showing that SWAPO may not make it at this time around. And Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF, they are really in jeopardy when they think of the fate of SWAPO, considering that the Southern African people have made up their mind to really get rid of these liberation parties. So the call for Renamo is really a noble call if it was going to be taken into consideration. We don't know what is going to be happening, but otherwise, what we do is let's continue to pray for the region and pray for these other nations, as well as our own country, for God's intervention, so that the freedom of his people might be realized. Thank you so much, family, for joining me on the show. Let us meet in the upcoming shows, and remain blessed. And shalom.